maybe close to 35, 40 minutes.
Do I seem like type of Negro that you could come to with some bull manure like that?
Got
Who?
approached. Terry Crews got approached. He got groped by.
Terry Crews is in a different era, brother.
You know how the showbiz scene is kind of crazy, right? Well, we've all heard those whispers about celebs doing wild stuff to hit the big leagues. Now, guess who's ready to spill the beans? Demon Wilson, the OG from Sanford and Son. Dude's hinting at dropping a bomb, claiming heavyweights like Jamie Foxx and Terry Crews are on an industry-controlled list. I mean, we're talking big names here, but according to Demon, they're basically industry puppets. So, what's the scoop on their puppetry? And who else is in on this rumored list? If you're itching for the details, hang tight because things are about to get spicy. Alright, so Demon Wilson had some thoughts on guys rocking dresses in a recent chat. The interviewer brought up the whole manhood in question deal, and Demon was like, seriously? We've been talking for like 35, 40 minutes. Do I look like I'd fall for that nonsense? Then the interviewer dropped Terry Crews' name, mentioning he got approached. Demon shut it down, saying Terry's from a different era, the golden age of Hollywood, to be exact. He's all about that old school vibe, you know? The interviewer pushed a bit, mentioning others talking about it. Demon fires back. Hold up, young brother. Where was Terry when that went down? At their parties, right? Well, not me. I never hit those parties, never played their games. Nominate me for whatever. I don't care. I told my wife, Cicely, from the get-go, let the work do the talking. And you know what? It still does. The man's keeping it real, no doubt. Speaking of Terry Crews, back in 2017, Terry dropped a bomb, saying he was SA'd by a big shot Hollywood exec. It was wild. He didn't spill the beans right away because he was scared of the consequences. He finally spoke up during the whole Harvey Weinstein mess, feeling the need to share his own story. And if you didn't know already, film producer Weinstein has been accused of SA or harassment by multiple women, including Asia Argento, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Angelina Jolie. Weinstein denies some of the allegations and says all his relationships were consensual. Terry spilled that this unnamed exec straight up groped him in front of his wife. The whole thing shook him up, and he opened up about it, pointing out how the Weinstein scandal was triggering some serious flashbacks for him. He said that he was tempted to retaliate, but was worried how the incident would be reported and feared he would go to jail. 240 pounds, black man stomps out Hollywood honcho would be the headline the next day, he wrote. Crews said the executive later called to apologize, but did not give a reason for his actions. Crews chose not to publicize the incident for fear of being ostracized. Par for the course when the predator has power and influence, he wrote.
Let's talk about your Old Spice ads. Those are fantastic.
Thank you.
And one of them, you dressed as a woman, yes. And I think we have a picture of this here.
Oh, yeah.
Hold up, there's more to the Terry Crews story. So, you know how Demon Wilson was talking about guys in dresses in Hollywood? Well, Terry Crews is right there in the mix. Taking a cue from legends like Eddie Murphy and Tyler Perry, Terry did this ad for Old Spice where he plays different versions of himself, including one in drag. In this wild commercial for their Get Shaved in the Face campaign, Terry's rocking a dress, doing the whole alternative character thing. It's like a scene out of a comedy flick, with Terry marrying his sassy female alter ego. Yeah, you heard that right. He tied the knot with his drag self. Cue the freak out moment, because Hollywood is always full of surprises. Demon Wilson isn't the only one singing this tune. Cat Williams is right there with him. He's the guy who never holds back, always spilling the tea on the craziness in the entertainment scene. Cat's got this reputation for calling out his peers when they're acting all kinds of foolish. Love him or not, you can't deny he keeps it real. According to Cat, he's never compromised his principles or done shady stuff just to hit it big in comedy. He's got this beef with the industry, claiming that black dudes in Hollywood are forced into doing some ridiculous things, like wearing dresses on live TV, just to reach the same success as their white counterparts. And guess who he's thrown shade at? None other than Jamie Foxx.
I know all the comedians and actors' secrets. Who's gay? Jamie Foxx. His name is Marcus Anthony. He's the only dude signed to Jamie Foxx's label. Check it out.
Cat's not holding back, alleging that Jamie's secretly gay and going off on him for taking on roles like in Django. He's all about calling out what he sees as a messed up culture in Hollywood, especially when it comes to emasculating black men. So, about a decade back, Cat Williams spilled some tea during a show in LA claiming Jamie Foxx is gay. He said, "Who's gay?" Jamie Foxx. I can even tell you the name of the dude he fed. His name is Marcus Anthony. He's the only dude signed to Jamie Foxx's label. Cat didn't hold back, going on a rant about about Jamie and that Django Unchained paycheck he cashed. According to Kat, when they offered him the script, he said anyone doing that role deserves to kick the bucket. Next thing he knows, Jamie's in makeup. And hey, Jamie Foxx isn't off the hook when it comes to the whole dress-wearing thing in Hollywood. Remember Wanda from In Living Color? Yeah, that was him rocking the dresses. Desmond Wilson and Kat Williams are throwing shade not just at Jamie, but at others too, saying they've all allegedly been pressured into donning dresses on live TV just to hit that fame jackpot.
Well, I wasn't walking away from the money.
Yeah.
I was walking away from the circumstances.
Interestingly, Dave Chappelle also talked about something similar when he appeared on The Oprah Show back in 2006. He let everyone in on the fact that he turned down a massive $50 million deal from Comedy Central. When Oprah asked the burning question, why give up all that dough? Dave got straight to the point. It wasn't about the money, it was about dodging the drama that comes with it. He explained how hitting that new level messes with your head, needing time to adjust to the whole new vibe. Dave's been in the showbiz game since he was 14, so he's seen the behind-the-scenes drama unfold. When Oprah pressed him about the stories he's heard, he got real about stars like Mariah Carey snagging big deals and then suddenly going off the rails. Laurence Olivier too, waving a gun on the street, claiming they're out to get him. It's that weird stuff that happens when they're on the brink of the next big career move. So Dave Chappelle spilled even more tea, talking about how these big media companies wanted him to write sketches that made people laugh at him, not with him. Basically, they were saying if he didn't humiliate himself, he wouldn't hit the big leagues of rich and famous.
There is to a degree. Like when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Dave shared a story about being asked to wear a dress for a movie he was doing with Martin Lawrence. He started connecting the dots, realizing that so many other black dudes in the industry have been told to do the same thing. He called himself a bit of a conspiracy theorist, connecting those dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, but certain ones just clicked for him.
What? The prostitute? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's hilarious. All the greats have done it.
Dave straight up said, why are they putting every black man in movies in a dress at some point? It happened to him too. He walks into the trailer thinking it's the wrong one, but nope, there's a dress in there. He even told the producers it wasn't relevant to the scene, but they kept pushing, telling him all the greats had done it like it's some rite of passage. Dave wasn't having it though. He stood his ground, and only when they realized he wouldn't budge did they finally back off.
No, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. For me, I know what they are.
So, according to Dave Chappelle, it's not really about the dress itself. It's about the industry trying to see if artists are willing to do anything and everything for wealth. In 2012, when asked about Dave's claim that black men were pressured to humiliate themselves for money, Kevin Hart chimed in, saying artists need to protect their brand and not cross certain boundaries. He shared that, up to that point, he hadn't faced any challenges to his personal beliefs. When asked if he ever ran into the whole wearing a dress scenario, Kevin was like, nope, haven't faced that dress dilemma. Gotta have boundaries and limits. He emphasized the importance of knowing you're a brand and protecting it at all times. Kevin mentioned turning down a request to dribble a basketball on a talk show because it would make him look foolish, protecting the brand, you know?
The new pope is 9-year-old Oscar nominee, Kavenshané Wallace.
But here's the twist. Just a year later, Kevin ended up on an SNL skit wearing a dress. Fans weren't having it and accused him of being a sellout and fake. So now people are wondering, why did Kevin Hart end up in the hot seat? Well, it seems like it was just his turn to go through the Hollywood rite of passage. See, the whole wearing a dress thing isn't unique to Kevin. It's like a tradition that many male celebs before him have gone through. It's part of a bigger conspiracy, or at least that's what some folks believe. Now, when it comes to conspiracy theories, Cat Williams has a take. He says you can't just dismiss them because there's usually a tiny of truth buried in there somewhere. According to him, it all starts from something real and turns into a theory. But here's the kicker. Wearing a dress isn't the only way you supposedly sell your soul in Hollywood. Kat claims you can also climb that fame ladder by being the instigator, pushing others to do things they're not comfortable with. Case in point, Steve Harvey. Kat recently threw shade at Steve, suggesting he played a role in the Hollywood game of emasculating black men. Apparently, Steve knew Cedric the Entertainer had serious comedic potential, but couldn't handle the idea of Cedric surpassing him in fame. So, the story goes, Steve tried to bring Cedric down by making him do a feminine skit. Cat Williams spilled some wisdom in his chat with Blacktree, making it clear that compromising personal values for money is a choice he'd never make. While he might not be in the mainstream celebrity spotlight like Steve Harvey or Kevin Hart, Cat's doing big things. You gotta be a Cat Williams superfan to know he's out there hustling, scoring deals with heavy hitters like HBO and Netflix.
Total.
9.
So you've done 9
Yeah.
filmed comedy stand-up specials.
Without ever getting financed or having a deal with anyone.
You did them by yourself?
Yes, I own them 100%.
In an interview with V103 Radio in Atlanta, Cat proudly declared, "I have the top 2 comedy specials on Showtime, HBO, and Comedy Central. The kicker? He owns them outright with 9 filmed stand-up specials, financed and dealt with entirely on his terms. But here's the twist. Cat believes the media isn't pushing him as the comedy mogul he truly is, because, as he put it, folks like him get hate for speaking the truth. Hollywood might not be shouting it from the rooftops, but Cat's holding his own and staying true to his game. Cat Williams has addressed the rumor mill buzzing about him being blackballed from the industry. He sets the record straight, telling his fans that not being part of the mainstream scene is a deliberate choice, not a consequence of any blackballing. In Cat's words, "I've never been in a commercial audition in my life." He's intentional about not selling out, keeping his tours unsponsored even when times were tough, and making it clear that you can't buy what's not in the store. He said, "My fans think like, oh, he's been blackballed. But the truth is, in 20 years, I've never been in a commercial audition in my life. Like, I never let my tour get sponsored when I was broke or now. You can't buy me, not because I'm not for sale. You can't buy me because I'm not in the store. That's different." When it comes to Steve Harvey, Cat's never been shy about throwing some shade. He's been vocal, suggesting Steve's success isn't all squeaky clean and might involve some questionable moves. Back in 2009, Cat even threw down the gauntlet, challenging Steve to defend his title as the King of Comedy at the New Year's Eve performance. They co-headlined. It's clear Cat's not one to mince words or hold back when it comes to calling things as he sees them. Back in 2009, Cat Williams stirred the pot by challenging Steve Harvey to defend his title as the King of Comedy. Cat, with a mix of honor and shade, thanked Steve for not accepting the challenge and acknowledged him as the King of Comedy. He even apologized in advance for what was about to go down, saying it was Steve's final time. Steve, however, opted to take the high road, brushing off Cat's threats during an interview on Jamie Foxx's radio show. Steve dished out some cryptic wisdom, saying dogs don't bark at parked cars, only ones that are moving. He threw a bit of shade at Cat, implying that if the moon barks back at the dog becomes famous. He said, "My grandfather used to tell me that dogs don't bark at parked cars, only cars that are moving. Dogs bark at the moon all the time. But if the moon barks back at the dog becomes famous." Cat wasn't having any of it. He went all in, taking shots at Steve's performance, reputation, hair, and more during the showdown. He even called Steve out for copying styles and disrespecting those who paved the way before him. Cat labeled Steve a comedy imposter, not holding back on the criticism. But it's not just Cat who thinks Steve might have played some shady cards to reach the top. Steve's been accused of disrespecting those around him, including his own staff. The comedy world was buzzing with drama, and it seemed like everyone had a front row seat to the showdown between Cat and Steve. According to Variety, Steve Harvey dropped a memo bomb on his staff, and it ended up on Robert Federer's Chicago media blog. In this memo, Steve made it crystal clear that his dressing room was a no-entry zone unless you had a golden ticket. He basically said, no meetings, no dropping by, and definitely no popping in. If you open my door without an invite, expect to get the boot. My security squad is on it. Steve laid down the law about approaching him while he's in the makeup chair. Unless he beckons you, don't even think about it. Knock or ring the doorbell, folks. And if you're planning a hallway ambush, forget it. Steve wants appointments, not surprise encounters. He hates being ambushed, and he won't entertain anyone strolling with him. The memo wrapped up with Steve asking everyone not to take offense, claiming this new business vibe is all for the good of his personal life and enjoyment. The memo read, "There will be no meetings in my dressing room, no stopping by or popping in. No one. Do not come to my dressing room unless invited. Do not open my dressing room door. If you open my door, expect to be removed. My security team will stop everyone from standing at my door who have the intent to see or speak to me. Do not approach me while I'm in the makeup chair unless I ask to speak with you directly. Either knock or use the doorbell. I am seeking more free time for me throughout the day. Do not wait in any hallway to speak to me. I hate being ambushed. Please make an appointment. I promise you I will not entertain you in the hallway, and do not attempt to walk with me. Everyone, do not take offense to the new way of doing business. It is for the good of my personal life and enjoyment. Also, Steve Harvey's views on women and relationships have raised some eyebrows, to say the least. He's been accused of disrespecting women with his interesting takes, like blaming women for men cheating because they're apparently too willing to cheat with them. It's a head-scratcher, especially considering some of these women are his own fans. The kicker? This statement paints all men as irrational creatures who can't control themselves around women, and that's not a good look. But wait, there's more. When asked how women can turn away suitors, Steve's advice was a bit problematic. According to him, once a guy is interested, there's no stopping him, and he doesn't care what you do. It sends a troubling message that men shouldn't take no for an answer, regardless of the circumstances. And let's not forget Steve's take on atheism. He's not a fan. In Steve's world, atheists are apparently immoral and corrupt. He believes that if someone claims to be an atheist, you should pack it up and go home, because in his opinion, they lack a moral barometer. All these views might make you question the image of Steve Harvey as the quirky, funny, all-American dad. His beliefs on certain issues reveal a side that might not align with the persona he's built. It leaves you wondering if he's keeping it real or if there's more to the man behind the curtain. And then there's the whole issue of Steve acting like he's a role model to other black entertainers. But behind the scenes, he's been accused of secretly sabotaging everyone he perceived as a threat. The late Bernie Mac, in one of his final interviews, openly accused Steve of jealousy and attempting to steal his role in Ocean's 11. Bernie labeled Steve a major narcissist who couldn't stand others thriving, pointing out Steve's self-centered introductions on the Kings of Comedy tapes. He said, "Go back and look at the Kings of Comedy tapes. Whenever he introduced his buddy Cedric the Entertainer, it was all about himself. So, yeah, I knew about it. Did it piss me off? Nah, you can't piss me off. You ain't that good." Then there's Monique, who publicly called out Steve for being a fake friend. Steve initially sided with Monique privately during her feud with Oprah and Tyler Perry, only to later slam her on air for burning bridges. Monique felt betrayed, expressing her disappointment that Steve didn't pick up the phone before going public. For context, back in 2009, Monique had a plan to do a press tour for the movie Precious, co-produced by Oprah and Tyler Perry. They wanted to ride the wave of her Oscar nomination buzz, but here's the kicker. They weren't planning to pay her for the tour, and she was already drained from filming. Monique decided to skip the tour and take a breather with her family. Seemed like a straightforward call, and everyone seemed cool with it. She said, "Oprah, I'm doing a talk show, I'm doing a comedy tour, I have a husband and I have babies, I have a little bit of downtime and I am going to take advantage of it. So I'm not going anywhere because I'm not obligated to go anywhere. I've done my part." So we mutually agreed to disagree. That was it. Next thing I know, I am considered difficult and hard to work with. Fast forward a few weeks and bam, media stories start popping up, painting Monique as difficult to work with. Suddenly, no one wanted to cast her, despite her winning an Oscar for her role in Precious. Imagine seeing all your hard work go down the drain. Monique started putting two and two together, realizing someone was out to get her. In a recent chat with The Hollywood Reporter, she spilled the beans that Precious director Lee Daniels admitted she got blackballed for not playing the game. Monique's even called out Oprah and Tyler Perry, asking for an apology that, as far as we know, is still MIA.
She said, "If you don't want me to have your brother on the show, I will cancel the show. No show will happen. But I wanted to call you up to see how you felt first." Begin to see commercials with my brother, my mother, my father, and my other brother.
A few months after the press tour mess, Monique spilled the beans on Comedy Central about how Oprah invited Monique's brother Gerald and her parents to her show. Here's the backstory. Monique's brother abused her when she was 7 to 11, and she had been open about it in a 2008 interview with Essence. Monique confided in Oprah about her strained relationship with her parents due to the abuse, and Oprah seemed understanding. Monique said she was cool with Oprah inviting Gerald but didn't want to be part of it. Fast forward to the taping, and Monique was blindsided seeing commercials featuring her family. Oprah had gone back on her word, pretending to be caring. Monique demanded an apology, but Oprah offered zilch. No private, no public apology, nothing. In 2018, Monique stirred the pot again, proposing a Netflix boycott because they didn't offer her the same pay as other big-name comedians like Chris Rock and Amy Schumer for a stand-up special. And guess who she called out for not having her back? Yep, Steve Harvey. She confronted him about a comment he made saying she had burned too many bridges, and she didn't hold back on how hurt she was. But surprise, surprise, Steve didn't seem to care much about Mo's feelings. It left a lot of people surprised because the Steve Harvey they saw on TV didn't match up with this real-life drama. And as it turns out, that was just the beginning, with Steve stirring up controversies one after another throughout his time in the limelight. The backlash from fans hit Steve hard, with accusations of sucking up to Hollywood elites at the expense of loyalty to his fellow entertainers. Steve Harvey isn't the sole comedian accused of questionable practices. Tiffany Haddish has also found herself in the spotlight. Cat Williams didn't mince words as he criticized Tiffany for being fake, lacking talent, and pandering to the white audience for attention crumbs. According to Cat, Tiffany hadn't proven herself as a comedian because she hadn't done a tour or a special, questioning if anyone could recall a favorite Tiffany Haddish joke. Cat went further, asserting that Tiffany didn't write her scripts, even for her breakout role in Girls Trip. He suggested that Tiffany rode the success of the film without contributing to its writing. Cat also claimed Tiffany advanced her career by playing the industry game, implying involvement with white men for professional gains and stepping on more talented comedians in the process. These rumors are truly mind-boggling. The entertainment industry is undoubtedly a tough and cutthroat place. It wouldn't be shocking if these speculations about what celebrities go through to reach the pinnacle are indeed true. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll catch you in the next video.